Hey look, that's the Rock of Gibraltar, and this, well, you know what this is. You clicked on the video already. It's the new BMW iX3, codename NA5. It is pure electric, it's a family crossover. It is super important to BMW, but is it any good? Building the iX3 wasn't a matter of taking the engine and gas tank out and dumping some batteries and motors in, but rethinking the entire concept of what a modern BMW should be. So it's built on a new technology platform called Neue Klasse with features and systems that are going to find their way into every BMW from now on. Now I'm going to be driving the iX350 today, and thankfully I've already done a little walk around video of the car from when I saw it a few months ago. I looked at the lines, I looked at the design, I looked at all the little things that jumped out and caught the eye, like these lovely taillights over here. What I didn't know at the time was that there are 3 versions of the iX3. That's the basic model, and then you've got the M Sport and M Sport Pro. Oh, and then you can buy these special M Performance parts, like this lovely little wing over here. With the M Sport, you get this front bumper insert in high gloss shadow line. In English, that means shiny black plastic, and I think it's quite distinctive looking, and it really breaks up this volume over here. You also get a rear diffuser in the body color, but this is actually the M Sport Pro. So the rear diffuser down here is in that shiny gloss black. Now, rear diffusers are supposed to improve downforce, so they press the car to the road at high speed for stability. Is this one functional? Yes, if the function is to catch your eye. Now, if you could see through these wheels, you would be able to spot the red M Sport brakes over here on this M Sport Pro. Now, the M Sport models have blue calipers, and you'll be able to show them off with other wheel designs, so don't worry about that. The standard wheels on an iX3 are 20 inches, and they go up to 21, or like these, 22. Now, things start to get a little bit moody with the M Sport Pro. The rear diffuser is gloss black, the wing mirror caps are gloss black, the double kidney thing is gloss black. Well, you get the picture. But either way, I do want to talk about the face of the iX3, which you're going to see on all the upcoming X models from now on. Now, half of the internet has been saying that BMW grills have been getting way too big, and now that this is out, the other half has been saying, I don't like it. Well, will you please just make up your damn minds? I've made up my mind and I quite like it. I think it's a pretty car, and I think it's better looking than the combustion X3 anyway. And more importantly, if I do this, you can still tell it's a BMW, right? Straight away. And I think that is one sign of a successful design. And now that I've spent a little bit more time with the iX3, I've just noticed how this line over here kicks up to meet this tailgate spoiler over there. It's quite a nice little touch, don't you think? And before I go on, just a quick little bit of disclosure. BMW Asia did pay for my airfare and accommodation for me to drive the iX3 over here, but they didn't ask to see a script, and they have no control over what you're seeing. Ultimately, I answer to you, so please consider subscribing. That would really help us out. Now let's talk dimensions. The iX3 is just under 4.8 meters long and a smidgen under 1.9 meters wide, so it's actually just a little bit bigger than the previous one. But its mighty wheelbase is nearly 2.9 meters long, which means it's as spacious in the back as the current X5. Now, I did play with the boot in my previous video, so I'll just quickly recap here that you have a capacity of 520 liters, and as you can see, it's very nice and flat and functional over here. If you do fold the rear seats down, you get 1,750 liters, but I can't show you that from here because I have to open the door and pull a tab, and well, it's a whole thing. Now you're going to see me drive different cars throughout the day because, well, we're switching them out as we go from the road to the track. And yes, this car is so cool that BMW thought, let's book the Ascari circuit, show these guys what the new iX3 can do. But whichever iX3 you buy, they're all going to have 6-way adjustable seats up front. They're all going to have a wireless charging pad over here. And they're all going to have 2 USB-C charging ports, 45 watts each. I have a couple of complaints about this interior. My biggest one is that you have to adjust these aircon vents digitally. So, I don't know, I mean, why? This is such a faff, and oh, okay, that's quite cool. You can open and close them with a tap, but otherwise, I mean, I don't know, maybe the Chinese like them, but I definitely don't. Also, it just doesn't feel very premium inside here. I mean, you've got lovely recycled materials for the head lining as well as the floor mats, but you can very clearly see in this car where the accountants came along and said, make that a little bit cheaper and make that a little bit cheaper. Like maybe over here, maybe over here. Oh, and I'm sure you've noticed in other photos of the car or my other video that you had that strange 4-spoke steering wheel. Well, you'll be glad to know that this is an option. This is the one you get in the M Sport Pro, and I think it actually looks rather nice. It almost looks like the yoke from a fighter jet. But I'm sure this has caught your eye. This is this parallelogram 17.9-inch screen, and it runs BMW OS X in conjunction with a 1.5 meter wide panoramic vision display over here. It's a projection that is reflected in front of me, so it actually looks very deep. Now, thankfully, I've done another video on that where a BMW expert actually walks me through on why this is the way it is, and you should see her use this thing like a pro, but you can customize it, and let me see if I can figure out how to do it as well. Yeah, okay, so I guess I'm a pro too. But luckily that means I won't have to go through filming all the functionality again. And some people might think this is gimmicky, but if you ask me, I think it actually looks really good. And once you learn where everything is, it is actually quite easy to use. I wouldn't say it's intuitive because you still have to kind of figure out where things are, but I want to say that we are rapidly heading towards a world where every other electric car, especially from China, just has a big iPad on the dashboard. So this does look different and it does look good, and your friends won't have it unless they buy BMW too. One more thing, I have 50-year-old eyes, and sometimes when the driver display is here, I'm like, am I going 65 or 85? But I don't actually have that problem with the panoramic vision display. The numbers look good and sharp, and they look far away as well. So that's definitely a win. Okay, if this car sucks, BMW is cooked. Let me translate that for people who are above the age of 30. If the Neue Klasse iX3 is no good, then BMW is in big trouble because, well, the brand is going to launch something like 40 new or updated models between now and 2027, and a lot of them are going to be based on this car. But the good news is, well, early impressions are actually pretty favorable. It actually feels quite nice to drive. It feels quite connected. And you know, the last iX3 was like that as well. It was actually one of the more engaging EVs to drive. And so far, so good. I actually feel like I'm feeling quite at home behind the wheel, let's say. And the EV basics are there as well. It is quiet. The acceleration is smooth. Noise insulation is not too bad. And suspension. This is a passive setup, but it rides pretty well. It even rides quite nicely in the back. A lot of EVs are quite heavy, and this one's more than 2.3 tons, so you get cars that are either very firmly sprung and bouncy or a little bit soggy and bouncy as well. But this one seems to hit the sort of a nice sweet spot between the two. It's also very roomy back here. I've talked about how there's as much space as the back of an X5, and yeah, look at this. I've got no shortage in front of me or above me. One thing though, I have to say, it just doesn't feel very premium inside here. I mean, listen to this. Or listen to this. Yeah, you really don't have to look very far to find cheap plastics in here. But okay, fine, your children are going to feel like they've got room back here. They won't feel like they're in the back of a Rolls Royce, and I don't think that really matters. What I do have my suspicions about though is this glass roof on top of me. Now, BMW is going to say this is a heat-rejecting material, but BMW does not live in Singapore. And glass roofs like these are one of the reasons, or one of the things I dislike the most about Teslas. I mean, like a Tesla, this one doesn't actually have a shade to cover your head when you want to. So really the question is, what's going to happen on one of those scorching days that we have in Singapore? Okay, what you do when you're hot is just crank up the AC, and I would really prefer physical switches, but these are actually quite accessible, so I won't complain too much. But I do want to try something new while I'm on the highway, and that's Driver Assist Pro. And yeah, okay, I've activated it, and you can see there are green lines that have lit up on the steering wheel. That means I can take my hand off the wheel for extended periods, and the car is doing the driving. So yeah, I can use the time to talk to you, I guess, and it's indicated that I can change lanes if I want. So you just look over my shoulder and straight away you can see that the car is changing lanes by itself. And yeah, that's actually pretty remarkable. So while the car is doing the driving, I may as well tell you about the range and charging, which is what you really want to know when it comes to an EV, right? So the iX350 is a bit of a range champion. mean, it's got 805 kilometers on a single charge. That's a bit on the high end. I don't think you're ever going to get that in Singapore, the way we use aircon and stuff like that. But even on the low range, the estimate is 679 kilometers. And one of the reasons for that is, well, I've got a really big battery underneath me. It's 108.7 kilowatt hours of capacity. BMW has switched to its 6th generation cells. They are cylindrical now, and I guess that allowed them to pack more into the pack. And each cell is 20% more energy dense than the previous generation technology. The charging though is what I think quite interesting. You've got your standard 11 kilowatt charging AC, and that will take you around 11 hours to top up the battery from empty. But this is an 800 volt architecture, and that allows really fast charging. If you can find a 400 kilowatt charger, you can go from 10 to 80% in just 21 minutes. Or let me put this into perspective for you. You can charge so fast that you can add 372 kilometers in just 10 minutes, which is really as good as filling up the car with petrol, nearly. And you know what? While I've been telling you all this, I haven't touched the steering wheel once. So this is one of the first test drives I've done where the car is just testing itself. Okay, finally a bit of open road, and let me just select the sport mode. Listen to this. Woohoo! All right, now I am enjoying the full 469 horsepower that I get from these two motors. And peak torque is pretty impressive as well, 645 Newton meters. It's all delivered instantly in a nice seamless rush. And you know what? I know all that sound is fake, right? But I think having a little bit of a soundtrack to go with your acceleration and just to give a sense of the effort that the car is putting in order to propel you forward is actually quite nice. And it just makes it that little bit more exciting. 0 to 100 in this car is quick, 4.9 seconds. And really, to get this much power and torque, I'm gonna say you're gonna need at least a V8, maybe a 4-liter V8. But you know what? We all feel the need for speed. We all want speed. But sometimes we need more than speed. And that's why I've come to the Ascari circuit to drive this, the M5 competition. No, I'm just kidding. This, as you can see, is our safety car. The cars that it will be leading are this row of iX3 50s over here, and I'm going to be driving one of them. So let's see what it can do. Okay, I've been to the circuit Ascari before. It's named after the racing driver Alberto Ascari, but if you look at the name, I think it's supposed to spell a scary circuit. Because honestly guys, I've never been fully comfortable around here. There's a lot of blind crests, there's these banked corners, and then they put the wall right up next to the track. So let's see how this car handles these transitions, left, right, left, and yeah, it's really composed. There's no body roll or anything like that. Let me see if I can just catch up with this M5 over here. I know he's not going 100%, but man, this car is easy to drive fast. Okay, I got a bit of tire squeal there, but really the body composure is great. Ah, who put that wall over there? There's a wall on the right. Okay, let's not hit the wall, but okay, we're going pretty fast, I have to say. But yeah, I'm not stressed at all. And I want to say this car, it's easy to drive fast, but it doesn't have that feeling like it wants to spit you off the track when you're going at high speed. In fact, it just clings on really well. You know what? This car is well within its limits. We could probably be going a little bit faster. And when you take these long sweeping corners like this, yeah, you feel like there's a lot of grip, but not so much body roll. This car is really well composed. And we're coming to one of these left, or rather right-left corners here. You just flick the car in and straighten it out through. And yeah, I can hear that M5 is going for it. And here's this long first left-hander that I'm so terrified of because it's a blind crest and you don't know where to brake for it. But yeah, you know what? I can tell that in this car, I'm not feeling very stressed at all. In fact, it's really, really nice. So let's try a slalom now, the classic test of a car's kind of composure and balance. And yeah, it actually feels really nice. You feel connected, you can tell what the car is doing. You can dance with the accelerator and it feels really nice. Okay, we're gonna do an emergency lane change and stop here. One of those shit yourself moments. I'm going to accelerate to 120. When I hit the red cones, I'm going to slam on the brakes to come to a full stop, but I'm going to change lanes at the same time. So let's see what happens. This is scary. Full on the brakes, left, right. Oh wow, that car was super stable. That was smooth as silk. German silk, mind you, not Chinese silk. So the iX3 50 arrives in Singapore in the second quarter of 2026. And this is pure speculation on my part, nothing official. I think the price is going to be something like $380,000 with COE. Later on, towards the end of the year, there's going to be, I think, an iX3 40, so single motor version, less power, less performance, and I think a slightly smaller battery. Range probably more than 500 kilometers, and I think the price for that will be closer to $340,000. Again, pure speculation, nothing official. So what about this car, the iX3 50? Is it going to be worth the money? Well, it looks good, the interior is very futuristic and it works well. And it drives beautifully. It feels like a BMW. There are going to be some people who think, well, I could buy a Chinese EV and I could have seats that fold into a bed. I can have doors that open and close for me automatically. I can have as much acceleration for a lot less money. And I think that's fair and that's true. But for the last 50 years, people have been paying a premium for BMWs simply for the promise of having a good time behind the wheel. So let me get a little bit philosophical here and ask, can BMW successfully reinvent itself for the future of motoring and yet cling to its heritage of being the driver's friend? I think the answer is yes, and I think this car is the proof. Okay guys, I'm in a little village here, and while traffic is light, I just want to try something. I want to take my foot off the accelerator, come to a dead halt. And it is on the one pedal driving mode, and let's see how it does. Wow, when it stops, when it comes to that dead halt, it eases off the brakes automatically, just like a trained driver would, and the result is a super smooth stop. You don't get that little jerk at the end. That's really nice. At least a 4-liter V8. And yeah, this car is... Sorry man, I hope that didn't show the bone, dude. Sorry man. That should go into the real, like there's so much G's going. Yeah.